Once a Spur, always a Spur. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you're having a great week, and I'm sorry for the lack of videos this week. I have been busy shoveling 18 to 36 inches of snow. Thanks, plows. Anyways, we got some breaking news last night or in the morning, depending how you look at it, about Jeremy Sochan, and none of this should be surprising, but we got to talk about it. After 3.5 seasons, the Jeremy Sochan era may be coming to an end. According to veteran NBA insider Mark Stein, quote, league sources say that Jeremy Sochan and his representation have received permission from the Spurs to explore the landscape for a potential new home via trade. The news, while unfortunate, and I do agree with pounding the rock, this actually is unfortunate, it is not exactly surprising at all. Jeremy Sochan, who started 149 games and played an average of 27 minutes a game in his first 3 seasons with our Spurs, has had a small bench role this year. That's being polite, small bench, almost non-existent at times. The number 9 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft is posting career lows across the board in 13 minutes a night and has only suited up for 27 games despite being available for more. He hasn't inked an extension over the summer. He wasn't inked to an extension over the summer despite being eligible and is slated to enter restricted free agency next offseason, i.e. this June after the NBA playoffs, June, July, something like that. It's unclear what the market for Sochan would be. I'm certainly going to circle back to this one. The Spurs traded their other 2 first-round picks from the 2022 NBA draft, Malachi Branham, who was 20th overall, and Blake Wesley, I think, was he 25th or 26th? I want to say 25. To the Washington Wizards for Kelly Olynyk and a low-value second-round pick last summer. But Sochan should, in theory, yield a better return. His impending free agency, however, could be enough to dissuade a team from making a serious offer, since it's clear he should be available next offseason despite his restricted free agent status, as San Antonio seems ready to move on. Still, there might be some suitors interested in giving him a tryout while having his bird rights, or he could be viable as an expiring contract. None of this is a surprise. We've been talking about this in videos, live streams over the last few months because he's just not playing. But I ask you this, drop a comment before I get into it. What is Jeremy Sochan's trade value? Is Darth Vader my father? This is Jeremy Sochan's stats for the year. He's played in 27 games, only 13 minutes a game, 4 points a game, about 2.5 boards. His shooting splits, they're not abysmal, 48, 26, 69. It should be noted, though, they have been going like this throughout the season, although Stephon Castle has been going throughout the season. A lot of players have been going throughout the season, also Harrison Barnes. So it's a combination of multiple players struggling where everybody's going to maybe be brought down along with it. But Jeremy, certainly this is his worst year ever with the Spurs. After averaging 11 points per game his first 3 years, literally each year is like 11. He's not even averaging half this year. Of course, a big contributor to that is his lack of playing time. As we pull up this, and I've showed this before, I'm going to show the most recent updated version. Look at all that did not play since December 10th. That is what, over 6 weeks? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12. 13 did not plays there. That's from Basketball Reference, by the way. I do love me some Basketball Reference. Not a sponsor, just putting that out there. And when he does play lately, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 11 minutes, 14 minutes. That's when we thought Sochan might be back. That 14-minute, 11-minute, I was like, oh, maybe he's going to start getting playing time again. Nope. When you look at that, it really just makes you think, is the last game with the Spurs, January 22nd, the win versus the Jazz, 126-109, where he played 3.5 minutes and put zeros across the board. Is that the last time we'll see Jeremy Sochan suited up? Because right now he's listed as questionable. And I have to wonder if that ties into this trade request, this Mark Stein rumor. The Spurs won't suit him up again because if you're going to trade a player, obviously you're not going to put him on the court risking injury. So mark that date. That might be the last time we saw Jeremy Sochan play. And as far as who was available, we'll touch on this real quick because it just crossed my mind. Who was available in the 2022 NBA draft right after Jeremy Sochan? Jalen Williams, doing pretty well with the Thunder. I don't think we would have taken a guard. Jalen Duren, who's having a bit of a breakout season with the Pistons. So there's some ouchies after Jeremy Sochan. But it was an unexpected move when we drafted him ninth. No shocker. Of course, you can hindsight it to death and say it was a mistake. We took him at 9. It is what it is. Let's talk about his trade value. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have no idea what his trade value is. He is still young. But do we get a second round pick for him? A late first rounder? A pick swap? There's been some talk maybe about Gershon Yabusele with the Knicks, who's just not played well at all with them. But if he comes here, is he going to get playing time? Is he a player after 5 or 10 games will get put in the starting lineup? Harrison Barnes has been struggling for as long as Jeremy's not been playing, right? Right around that same time frame. Spurs have some decisions to make. Could he stay with the Spurs just to the end of the season and walk away as a free agent? Is there a buyout option for what's left of his contract? I don't know, but I know we'll find out soon. The trade deadline is February? It's at the All-Star break, like right before that. I don't know the exact date. This is kind of a bummer. I like Jeremy, and I do want to make that very clear for anyone that's new to the channel or for those that maybe forget or whatever. I do root for every one of our guys. Will I be critical of certain players? Sure. I don't like Stephon Castle's turnovers. I don't like Harrison Barnes' everything right now. Jeremy Sochan, his lack of play has been shocking. We have talked about Carter Bryant being the replacement for Jeremy Sochan. It looks like that more than ever now. But in the end, I want every guy to succeed. And I was rooting for Jeremy. I was like, come on, you're a good defender. You bring some tangibles to the team that other players don't. You're willing to get scrappy with players, talk some trash, get physical. There's somebody's, getting a little rough with one of our guys. You get in their face. He's that type of guy, a glue guy. And I was hoping for him to work out, just like any guy. DeJounte Murray was really hoping he'd work out here. DeMar DeRozan. Go down the list of the players that have left the team. Joshua Primo, throw him on the list. Joe Wieskamp, I don't know. Lonnie Walker, just, every guy that's been here and has played some kind of minute with the Spurs, I want it to work out because if they're playing well, it means our team is probably winning. If for whatever reason, it just never worked with Jeremy, the out of position stuff, certainly, let me close the video with this. I don't think the Spurs did him any favors developing him with the point sowing experiment. I understood why they did it, but you know what? It's apples and oranges. You're trying to stick a square peg into a circle hole or a circle peg. You know the saying. You're trying to make something fit that doesn't. And I get trying to increase his playmaking, but no, that's not the case. And maybe the Spurs are doing that a little with Stephon Castle right now. Point guard, where he's been playing a little more off the ball and splitting the duty of Fox. But you had the point Sochan experiment, then center Sochan, and in this year, no Sochan. I think he can maybe do well somewhere else, and as much as it would suck to see him go, he needs a change in environment. He needs to go to a place where he can play in position, and the Spurs need a guy that fits what they're doing now because this is a totally different team than when Jeremy Sochan was drafted. There's only Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson left from that team when Jeremy Sochan was drafted. There was no Victor Wembanyama, no De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, etc. This team has changed a lot, including the coach. There's no Pop either. Team has changed a bunch, and Jeremy doesn't fit the team. Better for the Spurs to move on from him. Better for Jeremy to move on from the Spurs. That's all I got. Drop a comment. I'll see you live for the Rockets game tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I think it's 9 Eastern, 9:30, right around there. Late game on ESPN. Let's beat the Rockets tonight. Let's win one for the departing Sochan. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs, go!